Here on Earth, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are two of the world's richest men, seated right atop the cash chain. Although we all know that they both deal in widely unrelated things. Amazon to Jeff and SpaceX to Elon. Simple, no hard fight. But, just in case you don't know, that truth ends on the ground. In space, these two quietly rival each other on who's to own the largest satellite constellation of up to 42,000. For Elon Musk, he wants his SpaceX program to put at least 12,000 satellites into the Earth's orbit for the global internet. Things were going quite fine in recent times until out of nowhere, Jeff rose to provide a similar project called Kuiper. Because of this, he became a competitor and one with a lot of money to burn. But Elon himself is no pushover, so the fight ahead is truly a matchup for the ages, and you don't want to miss out on this one we brought on the show today. SpaceX Starlink versus Amazon Kuiper. So if you don't already know what Amazon Kuiper and SpaceX Starlink are all about, let's scratch the surface. Project Kuiper is an initiative dug up to launch a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites, or LEOs for short. These satellites, according to the scientists in charge, will provide low latency and high-speed broadband connectivity to unserved and underserved communities worldwide. From what we know, Kuiper is owned by Amazon's very own Jeff Bezos. For the Starlink program, it's a satellite constellation being constructed by SpaceX with one goal and one goal only: to provide satellite internet access for everyone on Earth. According to Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, the constellation will consist of thousands upon thousands of mass-produced small satellites in LEO. Atop that, they will be working in combination with ground transceivers to give out the best quality. Because of this conflicting but similar aim, these two giants, Elon and Jeff, started a war of words, brains, and money. How the war began. Well, every war starts off rough. But this particular Star War between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos had quite a good start. However, everything changed when Elon Musk had a change of mind on where exactly in LEO he wants to place his satellite. Before then, SpaceX satellites lied between 1,000 and 1,400 kilometers away from Earth. According to Elon, this range was too far, so he decided to move them down to around 570 kilometers for better effectiveness. That would have been a simple change. But that point is very close to where Jeff Bezos and his Amazon Kuiper's team intend to place their own satellites in the nearest future, and they believe there's a high potential for future clashes. So when did this happen? What happened next? And who's currently winning? Well, stay tuned to find out. Who is winning? Trust me, the winner seems quite unimportant since looking at it from a good POV, you can easily see that the duo are working towards building a better world. But going by the latest developments, Musk's Starlink is 2 steps ahead, because while Starlink is currently operating on a beta trial basis, Amazon is yet to launch the Project Kuiper constellation. Currently, SpaceX has more than 1,000 Starlink satellites in LEO, with several optimal plans to boost that number to 11,000 or more in the years ahead. But just last year, Amazon won approval from the Federal Communications Commission to put 3,236 satellites in a different set of orbits, with at least half of them to be launched by 2026. And if you are interested in figures, that project alone is estimated to cost over $10 billion. On the flip side, Starlink is already beta trying, remember? But for now, we can't really conclude if it's true what they say, that he who laughs last, laughs best, and much longer. So with those stats, I'll leave you to imagine who the winner will be. The politics. Sometime in July of 2020, the Federal Communications Commission approved Amazon's plans to mount their satellites. But they have been warned to avoid undue interference with other people's satellites. That point is where things got a bit tricky, because those other people, as we all know, are none other than Elon Musk's team themselves. Based on that, a few months later, SpaceX also appealed to the FCC to approve a change in orbits for future Starlink satellites. Now listen to this. Starlink claimed they want to improve their service and facilitate the safe deorbiting of satellites. Naturally, this would mean that SpaceX wants to put its first-generation satellites in LEO, which honestly, nothing is wrong with. But then again, instead of the original range of 1,100 to 1,325 kilometers, the FCC approved 540 to 570 kilometers as requested. Sounds shady, right? Well, Amazon thought so too, and a few weeks later, their team dragged SpaceX to court to file an objection against the change, and they were not alone. Like them, other satellite ventures were also on the grounds that the orbital change would hurt their plans. Ever since, SpaceX's proposal has been the subject of almost every argument, and everyone in the niche is trying to make Elon Musk the bad guy here. But is he? Well, SpaceX believes they have been misunderstood. According to David Goldman, SpaceX's director of satellite policy, said in one of his interviews with CNBC that everything held against them was nothing more than misleading claims of interference. To him, Amazon Kuiper seems to be the new kid on the block, trying to learn how the game is played. Now, don't take that too seriously, but I believe that you, at least, get my point. So let's move on. But nevertheless, the Amazon team appears to be right. Those changes can indeed create a more dangerous environment for collisions in space. In fact, they can even increase radio interference for customers. So, despite the reassuring posts made by SpaceX on Twitter, their proposed changes may hamstring competition among satellite systems. Yet sometime this year, the FCC approved SpaceX's plan to put 1,500 Starlink satellites in lower LEO, overriding objections about interference. If anything, this act appears to be another proof that the SpaceX team are the big boys on the block. What is Amazon saying? Well, Jeff and his Amazon Kuiper team are playing the good guys, and it seems they are. According to Amazon, the FCC ought to have considered Starlink as a newly designed system. As such, they should have it included in the broader regulatory processing round that was open to others when SpaceX submitted a modification request last year. They argued that SpaceX's proposed changes could put Starlink satellites at risk of colliding with Kuiper satellites. And they do have some proof from the SpaceX team themselves back when the SpaceX's team applied for the modification. Back then, SpaceX told the FCC that Starlink satellites could wind up in orbits up to 30 kilometers above or below the orbit they're licensed to use. That means SpaceX satellites stationed at 560 or 570 kilometers could end up in the path of Project Kuiper satellites licensed at nearby altitudes. Judging by that, there goes the Amazon's proof. But then again, making all the billions is one thing. Respecting the environment you operate is another. I don't know about you, but I think that the people at SpaceX should consider Team Amazon's arguments. Because should things go wrong, the orbital environment will be grossly affected, and no one really wants a satellite Armageddon anytime soon. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up to show your support. And for more videos like this, hit that subscribe button.